Bienvenidos a un capítulo más de Diálogos Sensoriales. En esta ocasión tengo el enorme placer de platicar con una de las personas que considero ha contribuido mucho en el área estadística de evaluación sensorial. Puedo decir que gracias a sus aportaciones muchos de ustedes han podido realizar una NOVA, un PCA o un Preference Mapping de manera muy sencilla. Y bueno, esto es gracias a Thierry Fahmy. Muchas gracias por visitarnos, por aceptar esta entrevista. Les platico que Thierry es ingeniero de formación con un PhD en estadística. Él es creador de XLSTAT en 1993 y bueno, también es fundador de la compañía Addinsoft, quien es la que vende XLSTAT también desde desde el año 2000. Thierry, muchas gracias por aceptar nuestra invitación a platicar. Bienvenido.
Es un placer. Gracias, Iván.
Okay, I'm going to switch into English just to have a nice conversation. I will start with the very first question. I think you have answered into this question many times, but how or why did you decide to develop XLSTAT?
The main reason was that I was not satisfied with the UX and UI of the statistical software. So I felt that something needed to be done. And I was very naive and I didn't know how complex it was to build a software house. And this is why as a young engineer and then PhD student, I started developing XLSTAT.
And why did you decide to do it for sensory analysis? When was that first moment when you faced sensory and decide to work with that?
Funny enough, I had done my engineering studies at AgroParisTech, which is the leading agronomics and biology engineering school in France. And of course, quite a significant amount of my colleagues went to the food industry, but that was not at all my direction as I chose to specialize in statistics. But in 2001 or 2002, someone sent me an email, and that was Hal McPhee, and he was asking us if we could develop the preference mapping feature and add it to what we had in XLSTAT by then. And I believe we had about 20 functions in Excel, but we had regression, ANOVA, and I think that this is what NPCA, these kind of basic methods, and I think this is what attracted Hal to us, and of course we were very happy to add this to XLSTAT. That was the first stone in the sensory area for XLSTAT, and then Hal and Anne Hasted and some users, some professors in France, in the US, started asking us to add some options or some features, and this is how the sensory domain became significant for us. And
well, you have an interesting point of view of the sensory analysis. I mean, you receive a lot of questions and suggestions from the users or people who wants to do analysis. Which is in your opinion that your more complex analysis to include into XLSTAT, the more difficult for you?
I think that it's really interesting in sensory analysis how people are creative at mixing methods or chaining methods, and I haven't seen that in other areas to that extent. So in the end, you have sometimes some very complex chains, of analysis, and you have to choose what's really important for the end users. Otherwise, the reports would be far too long. I believe that for some users, our reports are already complex. We try to simplify it. We try to improve the user interface to facilitate the analysis and the interpretation. But I believe overall sensory analysis is quite complex.
Right. And is there let's say which is the most question you receive? I mean, like I don't know, maybe I want to be or to have a more user-friendly program or more easy. I don't want to do clicks or whatever. Which is the most request you receive from these users, for example?
You know, Ivan, you should have asked me that 10 years ago, because I was by then almost the only one answering questions by email. Now, as you know, there are some other very talented people doing that. So I have a look at it. I have a look at the support mailbox still at least once a week to see what is happening, but I don't see anything emerging. And I must say that we have worked a lot on improving the software over the years. And I think yesterday or the day before yesterday, I was analyzing the support data, and we had a 50% drop of the number of requests we get, while at the same time, of course, the number of users raised. So that means that people find more and more information on our website, or XLSTAT is self-explanatory. So I don't see. I'm sorry, I'm not able to.
No, it's fine.
To find any question that's really striking to me.
No problem. But then, please, how did the evolution of your company has been since the beginning in a general way? I mean, how difficult was for you to put the program into the Excel, for instance, or to have this trust opinion from the consumer? How was it?
That's been a slow process. There was a lot to learn, and I have a lot of respect for all our competitors, especially in the statistical field, because they are usually very mature companies, and they discovered a lot of things before us, and we had the level was very high, and we had to run a lot during a long time to reach their level. And now we are there. We are respected by our competitors as well. And today I can say that I know what a software company is and what skills it needs, what organization it needs. But that took me quite some time, because I didn't learn it at university or in books, because when I started, that wasn't that common, and that there wasn't a lot of information, and there weren't that many people able to describe what a software company should be. So that was built on a step-by-step with several important steps. Let's say there was a first phase between 93 and 2002, and then a second phase between 2002 and 2012. And the phase that led to where we are today was really started in 2013. And today we have a very robust software, a robust organization, and as we were just talking about it before, we are also able to invest in research, do our own research, either in computational science, where we are building algorithms that are faster than competitors or open source software. And in sensory analysis, we have Fabien Yobel, who did a PhD with us, and at in Nantes. He did an outstanding job publishing 5 articles that are really important. And he's now working with us and doing research, and he has quite some freedom to work further. And he has already done a significant some significant research since he joined us as a full-time employee. And
how did this? I know that XLSTAT is not only for sensory, but let's speak about the sensory part. I mean, how did this sensory involved into statistics change your life? I mean, did you imagine working with sensory or software for sensory or not?
No. That was really a nice surprise and a nice gift from Hal McPhee, from that very initial email I received. I told you about. I think it's also related to the history of sensory sciences and sensometrics. It's been developing a lot thanks to several thanks to the food industry, of course, and thanks to the research labs that exist in where I believe the main ones are in France, in the United States. Of course, there are some other very good ones elsewhere, but there are some very there is a lot of research happening in France, in the US. And we had the chance to exchange with some important researchers from the beginning. I was also really interested by the subject, by these chains I was mentioning that were not that common in other industries. And I also believe that that science is really still confidential compared to what it should be.
Right.
It's only today the food and the cosmetic industry that are heavy users of these methods, and it should generalize to many other consumer goods industries. And I believe it will develop because it's really helpful.
Right. Is there? Well, I don't know if you know this, but is there a who asks the more complex questions for XLSTAT? I mean, the research part, the cosmetics, the food industry. Do you have that? I mean, is there a way to know who is working more deeply with sensory?
I will not mention any name.
No. Of course.
But there are some in the food industry. Some very big players are investing a lot in research, are trying to find differentiators. It's super important and impactful for them. So they are really pushing us to make more, and on our end, we are also cautious when we get some requests, some demands, to make sure that it will be useful to as many people as possible, and that something that would be almost confidential is not displayed by default in what we do.
Right. Sometimes I receive comments from people in general.
And you know, excuse me, but I need to insist also that with the research we do, sometimes we are making some bets and trying to offer something that is not yet requested. So
right. Yes, my comment it was into that side. I mean, some people tell me, okay, I don't know which program should I buy because every software offers me whatever they want. But based on this answer you just gave, it's like okay, it's something that is on the process or that is validated or is that most of the community can use. So that's something important, I guess, right?
Yes, and of course, and this is not something where we are the experts and we are not providing tools for that, but the whole methodology of sensory analysis is super important and super rich, and there are a lot of processes that need to be followed, and I mean that helps people being on the right path from the data acquisition till the analysis and the reporting and the decisions that can be made on the basis of the analysis.
This can be a complicated question, but how, or do you remember your feeling when you saw during a conference the name of we did the analysis using XLSTAT? How did you felt in that part?
The truth is, I'm proud. When I see that, I'm proud. Whatever the subject, when we see that someone used XLSTAT to publish a paper, there are, I think, close to 30,000 quotations and citations in Google Scholars. It's nice to know it, but when some researchers send us their paper where they mention XLSTAT, we are super happy and super proud, and that gives some meaning to all the efforts we do, because we know that we are helping people. And this is really, I did of course that for myself because I wanted a better UX to do statistics, but I was from day 2 super excited when I saw my friends using the software, and I'm always super happy to know that it's useful to someone. So it's happy and proud.
Great. And on the other side, of course, I know we shouldn't mention names, but do you have like a bad memory of or somebody that said, it didn't work, or I don't know, maybe complain? Do you have that bad experience with a user or with something that wanted to, I don't know, make a bad exposure of you or XLSTAT?
No. Of course, we had some customers complaining because the software was. I remember precisely of someone now. The software was really too slow doing an analysis, and of course, we do have some customers that sometimes complain for good reasons, and I would say that, of course, most of the time it's good reasons. And I'm really, for me there is no question if a customer is not happy, or if a customer wants something, we have to spend time first to understand, answer, help if possible, and most of the time we are able to help, and that happened quite a lot of times. And usually when you do your work well, in the end, when you solve the problems, people are super happy because you are helping them, and they forgive you for the problems they had. And if I remember that case where it was really too slow, we worked on the algorithm, and we released a version that was, I think, close to 1,000 times fast, because we had coded something not well enough, and and in the end it was properly coded. And since then we have gone further steps further, and there are some methods like ANOVA where you will not find a solution that runs faster in some cases. I'm modest, and I want to be humble and say in some cases, because of course, you know, what's very specific with statistical software is that each customer will enter a different data set, and sometimes that will generate some mathematical situations you had not thought of, or you are not prepared for, or that will generate a situation where there will be an unknown error and a message that is not sufficiently precise to help the customer understand what's happening. So yeah, this is where this is what we learned through the years.
Okay, thank you. Now let's move a little bit to another part of the interview, which is some sort of sensory practicing. I will ask you some per comparison questions. It's like a 2 AFC, so there's no ties. Of course it's a preference. So it's first decision. So please, what do you prefer, red wine or tequila?
I will answer red wine because I don't know tequila enough.
Okay. Mountains or forest?
Wow, I love both, but I really love both. So that's super hard. I can't answer, Ivan. Maybe forest.
Okay. Chi-square or binomial testing?
Chi-square is so fantastic.
Traditional descriptive analysis or rapid methods for sensory?
I'm not an expert enough, but I would say traditional descriptive methods.
Parametric or non-parametric statistics?
I love non-parametric.
Croissant or baguette?
Croissant.
Analytical testing or consumer testing?
I want to continue to have some good friends, so I would say consumer testing.
Okay, thank you for your answers. And okay, and how has been the sensory evolution in the recent years from your perspective?
I would say there are plenty of new methods. There are a lot of very good researchers. However, I think that what we should, I mean, the community of sensory analysts and sensometricians should really work on providing companies with very nice cases, and not only in food science and cosmetics, which we really need to make public cases that are out of these two industries.
Okay, and also in your perspective, which is the most surprising analysis applying to sensory? I mean, something like, wow, I didn't know they can do that with this, or something like that.
I was really excited when I discovered kata data analysis.
Okay.
Because it's the data looks very basic, and it's fascinating how much you can get out of it.
yeah, having a map or a biplot or some graph with the 1 and zeros, it's amazing, right? Okay, and in that way, how different is sensory analysis? I mean, the statistics for sensory analysis since you started. It is quite the same. It's there are new improvements or
there has been a lot, happening. For example, all what's time related did not exist, or maybe I didn't know about it, but I think that all the time related methods are pretty recent. I didn't hear about Kata data analysis since, and this is the first time when we met, since until the Sensormetrics conference in Chicago. I think this is when John Castura presented what they were doing. So there has been a lot happening, and with Fabien contributed also with his multi-table methods. A lot is coming in this area, obviously. Now the sensometricians are really good at picking methods from one discipline or one application or another, and transposing it to the sensory world. So I believe it's not over.
Right. I think this can be different, but without what are the requirements of a user who is going to use XLSTAT? What is your thinking or your way of thinking of who is the best user? That who is like curious, who is not afraid of doing something, who has a PhD in statistics, or what is your goal into that part?
Yeah, a very good question. I think it's someone with a significant quantitative knowledge. PhD is not necessary, of course, but someone who loves playing with the data and working with it and trying to extract information from it. You need really to have that will and that skill to be really a good analyst. And Excel is a wonderful sandbox for that. You can play with your data, generate new data, and with XLSTAT you will be going one step further with all the analysis that are too complex to do by hand in Excel cells. And but then you get the results, they are in Excel, and you are able to work again with them, and the charts also.
Right. And what will be the minimum knowledge or skills, if any, into that sensory scientist?
So the person I was describing is really the analyst, but we have some people with much lower skills using XLSTAT, but they've been trained to do something precise, and they know how to get the information from what we are displaying and make decisions or produce the reports for their managers. So the minimum skill would be knowing how to use Excel, I would say.
Great. And if you could travel time back to the 90s and meet Thierry.
Yeah, excuse me, Ivan, just one thing I would like to add is that recently, and it's currently available in the XLSTAT menu as a template generator, and it's still a beta version, but it will soon be official. You can generate an analysis, a workbook where you have a button that anyone can just click to have all a preset of options, and the data can be published in the second sheet, and all the analysis could be automated from one click in that workbook. So that's to simplify as much as possible and make it possible for someone with absolutely no skills to produce a report, as long as the data are formatted as expected. Sorry,
No. That's interesting, because normally people who do sensory has other activities, and it is difficult to have time to learn the statistics. But if you are getting that result, even if you are not a very skilled person, you can start reading, and because you have some comments and some conclusions into that report, you can then invest that time while you were like copy and pasting the information into another page. You can invest that time to do your own research or to learn more statistics. So it's fascinating. I mean, I'm pretty sure people is going to love that, honestly.
I hope so.
Yeah.
It's a scoop.
Great. Congrats for that. Okay, I was asking you if you could travel into time back to the 90s, and you meet Thierry at that time, and you have one suggestion to make him. Now you know what your life it's at this moment. What should you tell him?
Interesting. I would say it's very personal, but I think that's the most the hardest part when you are an entrepreneur is to find the right people at the right time to help you as you need, and it's super difficult. And long time ago, I did some choices that maybe could have been better. But I would have maybe I would have warned myself that recruiting is the hardest part of the development of a business.
Right. Good. Do you have a sensory book, paper, poster, something to suggest to people who are starting into sensory?
Reading food quality and preference.
Okay, great.
On a regular basis.
Yes, there's a lot of publications over there. And well, we are close to the end, but please tell us about your company. What we can have on XLSTAT. Is there how many options do we have, or
there are 250 features as of today in XLSTAT. Today we have two types of activities in the R&D team. Some people are adding some new methods. When I say new, it's of course sometimes some methods that are old, but not in XLSTAT. So for example, ridge regression is coming. It's a node method, but it was not in XLSTAT. We started with, of course, the regular regression. and recently we added lasso regression, which is more recent than ridge regression, but ridge regression is coming. There will be a few other things in the version to be announced very soon. And we also worked on hierarchical clustering. Of course, we've had that method from the very beginning, but one of my colleagues, Noor, did an outstanding job refreshing everything. And Fabien released a new, developed a new criterion to select the number of clusters, and it's really super promising. So really a mixing of old things and new research. And I'm very, very happy that they've done that. So it's really what we are doing, and this will be, you will see this for the coming, for all that year is already planned with this type of mix of new features and old things with a very nice refresh.
Okay, thank you. And based on your answer about tequila, we would like to provide you more references for tequila. So normally we do when we do this live or live, sorry, we have like a dish or a beverage or something and try to describe it. So I will take this opportunity to share with you a small glass of tequila, and please try to provide us your, can be either consumer preference description or something like more analytical answers. So if you agree and if we can provide you with that tequila reference, so it will be a nice.
So you're able to send through the internet a glass of tequila.
Of course, let me send it just right now.
That's not sensory analysis, it's quantum physics.
It's correct.
Let's see if you can do it.
Perfect. Okay, let's do that. Okay, Thierry, you should have now the tequila, which is now we are not going to set brands because we don't want to sponsor anybody. But how is your description? Well, which description do you have, or do you want the consumer part or the analytical or a mixture?
I'm really not an expert, you know, of sensory tests. So it will be a very naive and genuine one.
Okay, but it's an exposure of.
So you are going to ask me some questions, or
no? Just describe it in a general way. That this okay. Tequila, which is añejo, so it's more strongest than others, for instance. So the first question will be how
from the nose. It was I thought it was really surprisingly fruity, and now the taste. I like that, but I would say that my first surprise would be on the bitterness. There is a little bit of bitterness that I can feel. It's dry also. I was expecting something a little bit more like brandies or a little bit softer, but it's still dry. So there is a feeling of freshness for me. Okay. Then on the aromas side, I'm not really feeling what I had on the in the nose. So I'm gonna have another try. I'm not cheating. I would say I can feel the plant. something vegetal.
Okay.
I don't know if it's a term you would use, but
Yes. Like cooked vegetables. Something boiled, for instance.
No, I would say more like a herb.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, I'm really surprised. Maybe it's because I'm thirsty, but I find it really refreshing. I really find it refreshing. I'm not going to finish the bottle.
No. You can do it, but not at this in one time. No.
But aromas, of course, there is something of something with wood also. It's really subtle. I don't know if the word is English, subtle or
Subtle, like
subtil in French.
Yeah.
You must have something similar in Spanish.
Yeah, it's almost in that way always. When you
subtle.
hesitate,
it's subtle. Subtle. Really subtle. I like it.
Okay, so based on a 9-point scale, where 1 is dislike a lot, or a 9 is I like it a lot, which will be your degree of liking?
I would say I would give it a 9.
Great. Okay. I'm not well. Just then, if I ask you again, red wine or tequila, now you can say. Which one do you say?
I would still say red wine.
Okay.
But it's probably a matter of training. If it's of course more in my culture to drink red wine, so it's much easier for me to detect aromas in red wines than in tequila. So I need some training. I need to come and visit you in Mexico so that we don't have a virtual quantum physics tequila.
We can prepare something if you agree. The next time we meet in person, we can do this episode of Raíces Sensoriales, where we describe typical dishes or beverages. So we can do that if you want it with tequila.
Sounds great.
Perfect. Okay, 3 times flies, and we need to finish this talk. I really appreciate the time and your,
thank you very much,
your comments. I'm sure that many people will be inspired by your experience, of course. Anything else you would like to add?
Maybe I would insist on continue everyone to make sensory analysis more applied in different additional areas, or it really deserves it.
Perfect. And one final question.
Y un saludo a nuestros amigos mexicanos y de Sudamérica.
Perfecto. Muchas gracias. One final question I was missing is why you should apply statistics in sensory. Why you need to apply statistics into sensory?
Because there is a lot of data, and if you want to take into account, if you want to be able to take into account all the relationships, correlations, or association in general, it would be super risky and cumbersome to do without statistics.
Great, thank you. Do you have a page contact that you would like to share to the people who want to contact you, or?
Best is LinkedIn.
Okay, great. Well, we will put it into this video.
Perfect.
Thierry, merci por todo el tiempo, for your time. I know that's like mixing languages, but thank you so much for this. Thank you.
With pleasure, Ivan. Thank you very much.
Okay, see you next time. Y a ustedes, gracias por vernos. Si les gustó, denle like. Si no, no digan nada. Nos vemos en la siguiente Diálogos Sensoriales. Chao, chao.